What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel One Man's Walk. I am your host Gamal, back at you with another one. And so what we have for you today, Matrix Resurrection recap. Let's get to it right after this intro.
One man's walk, 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 one man's walk. Yeah.
Welcome back, welcome back. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about this Matrix Resurrections. So those of you who are familiar with the channel, you know I like to bring out the props to let you know it's real. So right here we do have the Matrix. This is the Blu-ray copy of the Matrix. It's the original one. I do have all three plus the animated one that came out on the 4 DVDs in one, or whatever you want to call it. But it was upstairs in the attic in a box filled with DVDs. I didn't want to have to go through the box to figure out which one it was. So I was just happy that this one was still out on display in the Blu-ray DVD section. When the first Matrix came out, I thought it was absolutely amazing. I loved the visual effects. I loved the concept, the thought-provoking nature that it brought with it, as far as the questions that made you question what's reality, what's real, what are we being spoon-fed, are we being controlled, are we being manipulated by what we see, everything about it. And then obviously the special effects at that time were groundbreaking. What he was able to do dodging the bullets, what he was able to do as far as the bank scene, or I don't know if it's a bank scene, but when him and Trinity entered into the through the metal detectors and they had to shoot it out with the guys, and how the shells were falling, like everything about it was just really groundbreaking. It was really amazing. Loved it, thought it was an amazing movie. And then the second one came out, and the second one, while the effects were much better, the story was much worse. And so I didn't really like it. I saw that one in theaters, just like I saw the first one in theaters. The third one came out, and the third one was cool. I liked it a lot more than I liked the second one, but I didn't love it as much as I loved the first one. So by the time this Resurrection is coming out, I'm just like, hey, it's been a long time. Do we really need it? But it's on HBO Max. It's the last movie that HBO Max was going to let us get for free. Well, allow us to sit and watch at home instead of having to go to the theater for it. So I said, why not? So my wife and I sat down and we watched it. I have different thoughts. So first thing, let me say this. The cast, I didn't recognize that Bugs, the young lady who played Bugs, is actually Colleen from Iron Fist. It wasn't until I'm watching it, I guess, as I was watching trailers, I felt like maybe she had the blue hair. She's always in sunglasses. I didn't put two and two together. I loved her as Colleen in Iron Fist. Her name is Jessica Henwick. I really liked her. So I loved her as Colleen. I thought she was really great. I actually am probably one of the few people who liked Iron Fist. I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was great. It wasn't one of the best of the Netflix series, but it definitely wasn't the worst. So I'm going to say definitely wasn't the worst. It wasn't as bad as people thought it was. That's my thought. I didn't realize Priyanka was in it. Priyanka, she plays Sati. And obviously Priyanka is from FBI fame, the Quantico show that was on ABC. It's the first time I think I believe she was a Bollywood actress and really successful, and that was her first venture over here onto American films and TV shows. And I love her too. I think she's really dope. I just actually watched a show with her the other day. What's that one called? It's a Netflix movie, We Can Be Heroes. My kids are always watching it, so I ended up watching it again with them. And so she was on there. And then I know I'm going to butcher his name, but he plays Black Manta on Aquaman, which I did like as well. I thought that was a really good movie. I thought he did great as Black Manta, as well as he is the new Candyman, which I have not seen yet, but whenever it hits streaming officially, I'll check that out as well. My wife isn't watching horror movies with me, and I wasn't about to pay to go see it at the theater, so we'll just wait. It should be showing up on HBO Max or Stars. We got all of them. It should be on one of them soon enough, right? So we'll check that out. But his name is Yahia, I think, I don't know, I'm butchering, I'm so sorry, sir. Abdul Mateen II. Neil Patrick Harris. Now, I knew he was in it. His role is as the analyst. I'm sorry, this is going to be a spoilers review, so if you're not aware, this will be spoilers. Obviously, we know Neil Patrick Harris is Doogie Howser from way back in the day, for those of you with the grays like me, or at least those of you who are 39 like me, or above or slightly under, who are familiar with Doogie Howser. But more recently, we know him as Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, one of my all-time favorite shows. Though the last few seasons were a little, I spent a lot of money on Apple TV or whatever it was, iTunes store at that time, buying singular episodes from that show. I loved How I Met Your Mother. Jada Pinkett Smith, Niobe, and we all know Jada Pinkett Smith. We know she's married to Will Smith, but obviously we know her from Menace to Society. We know her from different worlds, things of that nature. And then Jonathan Groff, I had to look him up because I didn't realize Agent Smith, the new Agent Smith, Jonathan Groff, was my guy Holden Ford from Mindhunters. Mindhunters is a really great show on Netflix. If you guys do want a review of that, let me know. We can deep dive on that for sure. I did like the Mindhunters show. So that's the cast. There's some other people there, but that's the cast, right? And so we don't have Lawrence Fishburne anymore. The guy who originally played Agent Smith, who was also in The Lord of the Rings and things like that, he's not here. You see them in like flashes. They do a lot of flashbacks. So the movie gives us a lot of nostalgia. And I wasn't sure what direction they were going to go with it, but they decided to go the route of nostalgia, which was cool. And so they do a lot of recalling back to previous ones, which was great because I did not actually go back and rewatch the 3 movies leading up to this movie. And so I wasn't 100% familiar with everything of what was going on anymore. I like that the sentients, I think they were calling them, they had reached a place where there was no longer good or bad as far as you can either be fully human or sentient and you're at odds. But within this world, Io, they had actually been able to form a cohesive unit. I thought that was great. I know I'm jumping around, but the movie feels like it's jumping around. So the movie starts off and we get to see Bugs' character as it looks like she's rewatching something with Trinity. And I left out Carrie-Anne Moss, but Carrie-Anne Moss is obviously Trinity. Now, Trinity was not actually Trinity. So as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is weird. That's not Trinity. Like, this is exactly what happened, but that's not Trinity. That's somebody else. And no sooner than I said that to my wife, Bugs said it to the guy who she was with, and they're like, this isn't Trinity. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, cool. So that we already understand there's some type of coding that's different. I do like, because I remember and I was like, I thought Trinity died and I thought Keanu Reeves died. How in the world are we having a resurrection? But then hence it's in the title, right? I liked how they did it, and they had Keanu Reeves, so deep within the Matrix. And I think willfully he was kind of in there as well, but they had him so deep within the Matrix. They had him believing that the Matrix as a whole was a video game. It was always a video game, and it was nothing more than a video game, figments of his imagination. And the analyst, Neil Patrick Harris's character, he was also his therapist, which makes great sense, because how do you keep a person subdued, so to speak? As his therapist, he has a close eye on everything that he's thinking, everything he's saying, because in therapy you're supposed to share and things like that nature. And so he has the best view or the best advantage to be able to know what is it that Neo is thinking, what is it that Neo is feeling, what is it that Thomas Anderson is going through, and then I can feed him what I want him to hear. Because the main antagonist is Neil Patrick Harris. It is not Jonathan Groff, who is the new Agent Smith. Agent Smith in his own right was interesting. I didn't love the way he was portrayed. I still think the original Agent Smith was just absolutely amazing. Similar, I thought Abdul Mateen as Morpheus. I prefer Lawrence Fishburne. I liked Lawrence Fishburne. I thought, and that's nothing wrong with Mateen, because I think he's a really great actor. I just think in this role he was not best suited, personally. He did good. I mean, it was an honorable job, but I didn't like it more than I liked Fishburne. I didn't like Groff better than I liked the guy who originally played Agent Smith. And again, they didn't recast Neo, and they didn't recast Trinity. So, you probably could have just brought back the other ones as well if we were going down this nostalgia path that we were on. But anyway, the movie as a whole is cool. The ending I didn't like. I really feel, honestly speaking, if you just watch the 5 to 7 minute interaction when they are all around the table within the Matrix, and they're at Neo's company, the video game company, and they're discussing having to go back into the Matrix where he didn't want to go back in. It is such a subtle subtle in your face play on things about him not wanting to go back to the Matrix and his boss telling him he needs to go back. And they even threw in Warner Brothers is making you do this. Warner Brothers is the big brother. Like, it was really cool how they did that. But then the actual talk, the conversation about what is the Matrix, what does it mean to you? They were all going around the room. Some people were like, look, I never watched it. I thought it sucked. Some people were like, man, it was great. It was my childhood. Other people were like, what's the first thing you think of when you think of the Matrix? And some people were, the mind stuff. And other people were like, no, it's the action, it's the bullets, it's the fighting. And then another person is like, no, it's the way that he dodged the bullets. Like, all of that. And then they started going into, well, if we do a reboot, it can't be the same old thing. We have to break new ground. It can't. And then they're like, why can't we just rehash it? Everyone else does it. Just get a money grab. Like, I feel like everything that we as consumers, as fans, we're thinking as we watched trailers, as we heard that they were making a new one, as we were contemplating whether we wanted to see the new one, like all of the things that I think we were having pocketed conversations amongst ourselves, they said, let's throw that in and give fanfare. And I thought that was great. But once I saw that part, I said, oh, okay. They're preparing us for why we're going to get more than one of these. And obviously, by the time you get to the ending, it leads us into we're going to get more of these movies. And so potentially a new a new threequel, I guess, so to speak. And so it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was cool. I mean, happy I saw it for the nostalgia effect and things of that nature. And again, like I said, I did love it initially when I first saw it, so I'm not going to front like I didn't. But me personally, is it something I think has a lot of replay value and rewatchability like the original one did? I would say no. It kind of set the stage and set the scene for what they were trying to do. And I like the modernness that Neil Patrick Harris brought as far as the thought process behind, hey, it's not about ones and zeros as the original Matrix seemed to be about, but it's about feelings and understanding. It's the human connection and the human interaction. That's what's driving Neo. That's what's driving Trinity. That's what's bringing it home, is the intangible tangibles. And so I thought that was really good too, to be able to do that. But as a whole, it was cool. You guys leave your thoughts. What are your comments? I feel like it is probably something you got to watch a few times to kind of get all of the deeper meanings and things. And again, I just watched it the one time, but my initial thoughts coming out of it was cool. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was cool. And so, what do you think? How did you like it? What are your thoughts? What are your comments? Leave them below. Let me know how you feel about the movie. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, productive, stress-free day, weekday, weekend, whenever you're listening, however you're listening. Till next time.